we're playing with people's lives, and it makes me sick because we're talking about people who have all sorts of complications in some cases with their pregnancies, and they need medical care that they're unable to get in some states because of some of these anti-abortion laws. You have people who are identifying as Republicans, who are in favor of keeping abortion legal in the first trimester at least. It's not a game, okay? Playing around with people's lives and their bodies is not cute, it's not a game.
Donald Trump and Kamala Harris finally had their presidential debate. There were lots of lies and conspiracy theories peddled by Donald Trump. In this section of the debate that we're going to cover in this video, Donald Trump was lying about abortion, which he has done for some time. Ana Kasparian, Cenk Uygur, and John Iadarola broke all this down. We're going to take a look at clips from the debate as well as the Young Turks hosts' coverage of this. I'll add in my thoughts from time to time. It gets really interesting. Let's check this out.
Abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look at the governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, who's doing an excellent job, but the governor before. He said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby. And that's why I did that, because that predominates, because they're radical. The Democrats are radical in that. And her vice presidential pick, which I think was a horrible pick, by the way, for our country, because he is really out of it. But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says execution after birth. It's an execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is born, is okay. And that's not okay with me, hence the vote.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born.
So look, guys, some of you out there I know are right-wingers that watch the show, right? Welcome, how you doing? And live weekdays, 6 p.m. Eastern, check it out every day, and a lot of you do. And so well, some of you know we're fair and we're honest, and when you get into policy, there's plenty that we disagree with Kamala Harris on, etc. But like you guys, some of the MAGA guys, not necessarily right wingers that watch our show, but think like that all these things are true, that the immigrants eat dogs, and it was the governor of West Virginia. No, it was the governor of Virginia, and you're totally misquoting him, etc. But I know that a lot of right wingers think, oh yeah, Democrats. The governor of Virginia said you should execute babies after they're born, post-birth abortion they call it. Senator Ted Cruz has said it. Trump has said it a billion times, etc. And you guys believe it's true. It isn't true. He was talking about a baby that was terminal. And so they had to make the incredibly painful decision about what do we do with this terminal baby, which is a decision a lot of families have to go through, whether it's babies, grandmothers, whoever it might be, and they have to make that decision in a personal way with their doctor and their families, etc. That's what he's talking about. How could it be a post-birth abortion? It makes no sense. I know you guys believe with all your heart, and you've got this one out of context clip that isn't where he doesn't even say it, right? But it's gotten you guys to believe. But you have to understand that the rest of the country thinks you guys sound nuts when you talk about post-birth abortion.
Yeah, because it's murder. Because it's murder.
Because it's not a thing. That's called murder.
We're playing with people's lives, and it makes me sick because we're talking about people who have all sorts of complications in some cases with their pregnancies, and they need medical care that they're unable to get in some states because of some of these anti-abortion laws. You have people who are identifying as Republicans, who are in favor of keeping abortion legal in the first trimester at least. It's not a game, okay? Playing around with people's lives and their bodies is not cute, it's not a game, and lying about this to instill fear in people's hearts is not funny, it's not okay.
And Ana Kasparian is exactly right with what she's saying here. This isn't a game, but Donald Trump and the Republicans treat it like it's a game, just in order to try to win. But this is not a winning strategy for Donald Trump. He keeps bragging about how he got Roe v. Wade overturned and that everybody wanted it. No, not everybody wanted it. 2/3 of the country was in favor of Roe v. Wade staying intact. But Donald Trump is trying to continue to appeal to the evangelicals that worship him, essentially. But Ana Kasparian is exactly right with what she's saying here. It's really sad the way that abortion has been politicized, because no one, right-wingers love to believe this idea that you have women that in the 9th month are deciding to have an abortion, or this insane idea of post-birth abortion, which, as Ana Kasparian and Cenk Uygur are both saying here, that's just murder. And they fact-checked Donald Trump live in the debate to say that there's no truth in this, that no state in the country allows this. But no woman, any woman that is having to have an abortion in the 9th month, that's a woman who wanted to have the baby. No woman is saying, oh, I'm going to go through all the difficulties of a pregnancy and then in the last month just saying, yeah, I changed my mind. I don't want to have the baby anymore. That's just not happening. So Donald Trump is peddling lies and conspiracy theories, as he has done since 2015 and even beyond, in order to try to get reelected. I don't think it's going to work on this particular issue.
Yeah, and she framed women's reproductive rights as taking away their freedom.
Right.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And another thing that, you guys have heard me say it on the show. I'm like, why don't they say it's freedom? It's about freedom. And instead, what the Republicans are pushing for is big government, for the government to get in between you and your doctor and take away your freedom. How much more freedom does it get than the freedom to control your own body?
Yeah.
So it was, again, another home run for Kamala Harris. Now, by the way, there was a moment, though, where they both drove me crazy on that issue, because they asked Donald Trump, would you veto a national ban on abortion? And he just never answers. He just, I don't have to worry about it. It's not gonna happen. No, just answer the question.
Should we go to that video? We
have it? Okay, and then she had a very bad answer too. Let's watch.
Will she allow abortion in the 8th month, 9th month, 7th month?
Come on.
Okay, would you do that? Why don't you ask her that question?
Why don't you answer the question? Would you
because
veto?
Under Roe v. Wade,
answer the question. Would you veto?
You could do abortions in the 7th month, the 8th month, the 9th
That's
month,
not true.
and probably after birth. Just look at the former governor of Virginia. The governor of Virginia said, we put the baby aside and then we determine what we want to do with the baby.
So Donald Trump had it West Virginia first, and then he corrected himself, Virginia, so he can't even get the state correct on this.
So in that was her bad answer. In fact, I think it was her worst moment, because he says, would you allow an abortion in the 7th, 8th, or 9th month? Just say no, because that's the Roe standard, is you don't allow an abortion in the 3rd trimester. That's what the overwhelming majority of Democrats believe. You say no there, and it's a clean win, right? I don't know why she didn't say no.
No.
Stop evading the answers.
Just say no. I agree with the standard that was set by Roe, period.
Yes.
Okay? Which bans abortion at the point of viability, which is about 22 months.
I think she must have had
22 weeks, sorry.
She must have had it in her head that, well, there's the exception for the life of the mother and the health of the mother,
Just be
etc.
clear.
Which again is the Roe standard.
Yeah, that's the Roe standard.
That's the Roe standard.
Just go with the Roe standard. That's which the overwhelming majority of Americans agree with.
And again, to talk about these things like they're hypotheticals, when it was just a couple of years ago, people were born, lived, and died under that standard. We had it for decades, and so look, he came out looking terrible on this topic. She had that bad answer, but overall, I thought she was very strong on this topic. And Biden, if you'll recall, utterly fumbled this topic and looked terrible. Even more than others.
He fumbled Medicare.
Yes, but I think even more than others. Whereas he wouldn't commit to vetoing it, which, by the way, dude, just lie. Like, honestly, just say you'd veto it, and we know that you won't, but just lie, because you look terrible. And so, the continually telling the audience, there's many millions of people tuning in, all of you Democrats, Republicans wanted it to go back to the states. What are you talking about, man?
No, Democrats did not want to take elections.
You're telling all of these people who have been horrified, no, you actually wanted it, which is great symbolism, by the way, on this particular topic when you're taking away the rights of women. It's just, this is not persuasive. He's been backed into a corner because he knows how utterly radical they look. And so he's trying to turn around and make the Democrats look radical, but he just doesn't have the material for it. And when he points to the fact that when you let the people vote, this one's liberal and that one's liberal, well, as she pointed out, no, when the people vote, it always goes in terms of giving people the right. He is saying he gave it back to the people. He means in some states, red states, they have Republican state legislatures where they haven't had or allowed a ballot measure, and your rights have been taken away.
And John Iadarola is completely correct about this. In the states where it has made it onto the ballot, voters, even in red states, voters have chosen to keep abortion legal. And in most cases, it was to go back to the Roe standard. So, but this is what the Republicans wanted all along. They knew that in a lot of states they would be able, West Virginia is a good example. West Virginia will probably never allow this on a ballot, so the people in the state will not be able to vote on that. And that's what they want. And so Donald Trump got what they wanted. You're going to have half or more of the country where abortion will essentially be illegal. And they're even trying in a lot of those states, like Texas, to make it to where a woman couldn't even leave the state to have an abortion somewhere that it is legal. So no, this is not what people wanted, as I said before. And as John Iadarola, Cenk Uygur, and Ana Kasparian are pointing out, 2/3 of the country wanted Roe to stay the way that it was. They didn't want this overturned. So Donald Trump is just lying about that.
It's not the people that are determining that. It's some right-wing men that are determining that. If it ever comes to a ballot measure like it might in Florida, well, then that's going to be that, and the rights are going to be reestablished. And I think he knows that, and that's why he's doing such a bad job of playing defense, but he's trying.
Yeah, last thing on the abortion issue, he's stuck. The reason why he has to say, evade the answer whether he would veto the ban is because if he did say he would veto the ban, the pro-life, anti-choice guys would lose it.
Right.
Because that would be the first time he was super clear, no, I'm pro-choice. At least I am today, after I killed pro-choice movement by putting in these 3 radical justices and killing Roe v. Wade. So normally what Trump does is he'll tell whichever crowd he's talking to whatever they want to hear. So he'll go to a right-wing crowd and tell them, oh, abortion is terrible, they're killing babies in the 12th month, and I would make sure that I'm the champion who killed Roe v. Wade, and they go crazy. Then he'll go to a mainstream media outlet or any place where other people are going to see him and be like, I don't know, I'm not going to do a national ban. I want to give it to the states. But here he is on the same stage. He can't say both things at the same time, so he's stuck, and that's why he evades the question. Whereas Kamala's is actually more of a mistake because she didn't have to evade the question.
Exactly.
Right.
I agree.
She chose to. But again, Trump loses something he could have won because it was a rare misstep by Kamala Harris, but he lost it overall because all anybody's going to talk about is executing babies, which sounds nuts, because it is nuts. That doesn't happen, and Trump made up another crazy lie.
And I agree with Cenk Uygur here. What Trump is trying to do, which isn't going to work out for him, he's trying to thread the needle because he has to feed this red meat to his base that wants abortion to be banned. And so in that case, he keeps bragging about overturning Roe v. Wade, but he knows that this is unpopular. So he's trying to thread the needle and say, well, we're just going to let the states do what they want to do. And if a liberal state wants to have abortion at the ninth month or do these so-called post-birth abortions, which is illegal everywhere, they can do that. And then in a more conservative state, then they can do what they want. And it's not going to work because most voters wanted Roe to stay intact. So what do you think about the assessment of this particular? What do you think about this assessment of this particular part of the debate between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris about abortion? Are Ana Kasparian, Cenk Uygur, and John Iadarola correct about what they're saying here? Was this a winner for Kamala Harris, even though they feel like she had this bit of a misstep in one aspect? Or do you think Donald Trump is right? Do Democrats just want all abortion all the time at any point, even after birth? Let me know what you think in the comments. I love to read and hear what you all have to say. Make sure to give me a like and subscribe. My channel, Chris on Culture, is growing quickly. I want this to keep growing, getting close to 10,000 subscribers, and I want to go beyond that. And your likes and subscribes allow me to do that and to put out more content like this. So thank you very much for that. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. This is Chris on Culture. I'll see you in the next one.